A kaleidoscope of color, a whir of frolicking animals, the new Carousel on Boston's Rose Kennedy Greenway is, in the words of its designer, a haven of happiness.
You don't see too many occasions where everybody gets happy, you know, in a nice way, you know. So that means a lot to me.
Jeff Briggs is the creator of the Carousel. It was a 3-year process largely undertaken in his colorful Newburyport studio, landscaped with sculpture. You know, just as an outsider coming in, it seems a little whimsical and fun. And does that help the way you work?
Well, I guess so. I mean, one thing leads off in another. You know, everything you see visually, you collect in your mind, and it transfers to something else as you're doing something new, always.
The Greenway Carousel began with a collection of drawings by Boston public school children who were asked to imagine the native Massachusetts animals they'd like to see populate the merry-go-round.
What's nice about kids is they just like, it's free form. The children's stuff is, of course, not totally identifiable, but the spirit is what you try to pick up and go with if you can.
Like the lobster, one of 14 different animals on the carousel, and one of Briggs' greater challenges.
But if you actually look at a lobster, he's pretty damn ugly. He's got horns sticking out everywhere. I mean, that's how he protects himself. So you kind of like, you take parts of that and you use it as best as you can.
In sculpting each animal, Briggs plowed through research to keep his animal instincts in check. He visited the New England aquarium seals to create his own, combed through bird studies for his peregrine falcon and owl, and even bought the largest codfish he could find to get the mouth just so.
You say, okay, that's how it works. That's what makes it look like it does. This is why this fold is here, that's why that crease is there, and so forth. Once you understand it anatomically how it works.
Installed in its own park over the summer, the Carousel is a fiberglass menagerie, a merry ferry for children and adults looking for a momentary spin away.
It's such a wonderful art form because it's something that people use, and they use it right in front of you. There you are, you're standing there and you're watching people enjoy this thing that you created. It's amazing.
Jared Bowen is here. I walked by that over the weekend. It's absolutely spectacular.
Isn't it?
So how did this come about? Was it his idea to do it, or did somebody commission him?
Well, he was commissioned once the idea for the Greenway Carousel happened, and he really is the go-to person, not only in the States, but really around the world. He has done carousels everywhere, from Euro Disney to all of these institutions and facilities. Yes, it's very much his specialty.
What are they made out of?
They're fiberglass. So he makes the molds, and then they're sent off to be made, and then there was a different person who did all the painting, but he came up with the color scheme along, I think, to some degree with his wife, who's also an artist working in Newburyport. They're just a great couple.
Now, there's something like a sea monster or something in there? How did that one come about?
That's the question that I asked. Yeah. If you have 14 animals that are all native to Massachusetts, how do you get a sea monster? But he has this really great story. And that's what I love about Jeff Briggs. He really is sort of a research nerd, and he consumes so much in order to be able to sculpt. But he did some research, and apparently a lot of these myths about sea monsters come from this thing called an oarfish, which lives 3,000 miles, or 3,000, I don't know what it is, way down below the Earth's surface, 3,000 feet. And apparently they surface every once and again, and that's how these myths have been created. So he studied that, and one was found within the last year. So he, just like he worked with the codfish to understand where the creases in the mouth came to get it right, he studied this oarfish, and he said the greatest thing is the kids now call it not a sea monster, but they actually know that it's an oarfish.
Wow. So it can't be open all year round.
No, so what they're doing right now, it's open weekdays, and then Columbus Day weekend, it'll go to...
Weekdays and weekends?
Just Columbus Day weekend, it'll be open only weekends. And what's great is that this is a public-private partnership. Half of the money came from Tiffany, which paid for a lot of the landscaping. So it is, as you noticed the other day, it's in this grove just down in the Greenway. So you feel like you're, eventually, once the greenery grows up, you'll feel like you're in this little enclave and really enjoy it. And that's what I love. I love that there's this public-private partnership, and it's finally making some successes in the Greenway, which I think is evolving nicely.
How much does the ride cost?
It's $3. I knew you were going to ask me that question.
And how long is the ride?
The ride is a couple minutes, and I have to say I really like the soundtrack they chose for it too. It's really pretty. They have everything from Joni Mitchell and Carousel to some of the Disney soundtrack. It's really a sweet experience.
I would jump on the owl. How about you? What did you write?
Of course, I went right to the skunk, because that's me. I don't know why.
Is that a Native American, a native to New England? Who knows?
Of course.
All right, what do you got coming up for tomorrow?
Actually, tomorrow it's very important. Of course, we've been having a lot of dialogue about all the mayoral candidates, and the arts community recently got together and had a huge forum with 9 of the 12 mayoral candidates, and really, with Joyce Kulhaywick as moderator, made the arts in Boston a function of the next mayoral administration, impress these candidates about what they plan to do, how they'll incorporate the arts into their cabinets and city administration going forward. So I'll have the rundown of who said what.
Great. Can't wait for that. All right. Also tomorrow, Harvard's Nick Burns on the diplomatic tightrope with Syria, why he says the U.S. must take military action against the Assad regime. I'm Emily Rooney. Thanks for watching.